Feeling good, feeling great. Feeling great, feeling good. How are you? Welcome into Timeline T. I'm your host, D. Sam D, a.k.a. St. Disney Jr. Friday of a holiday weekend. How many of y'all are off today? If you were smart, you put that 4-day weekend in early. Got to line those days up nice and easy. 4-day holiday weekends are lit if you know how to set them up. Oh, there's a lot to get into. I was ready to come in here and talk a lot about the Celtics and the Heat from last night. But the NFL said, hold my beer. A team coming back from 3-0 is a cute story, but we're going to release one of the best receivers in the league and have him be available for anyone. DeAndre Hopkins on the way out. There's a lot of teams rumored of who he may be in the mix with. We'll run down all the potential suitors and who we think is the best fit. And I say we because I want you to chime in the chat. This is not a one-way conversation. It's a two-way conversation. It's a two-way stream. This is an interactive experience. And yes, the Celtics did stay alive. You see it down there. Celtics stayed alive. This green is not because of the Celtics. It's for King Griffey. You know, the lens ain't that wide to get the full. Nah, I mean, but just trust. I ain't rocking those Celtics colors out here. But Celtics did stay alive. Miami Heat, shaky in the light just a wee bit. That window that we kept talking about is getting wider and wider. Another injury for another Miami Heat player. Now they're talking about the excuses are starting to come out of Miami. The excuses are starting to come out of South Beach and Biscayne. They're out there talking about, oh, well, we don't got Tyler Hero. Oh, I ain't hear nothing about no Tyler Hero when y'all were up 3-0. If anything, y'all was saying, don't worry about Tyler Hero. We don't even need him for the finals. That's what I was hearing. Hey, Alex in the house. It is a Friday, so Alex is in the house. What's good, Alex? How are you? Happy Friday. Happy Memorial Day weekend. And do we have some NBA fodder, trade stuff, some of that type of stuff going on. But the first two topics are the real juicy topics. I will not lie to you. We'll see if we can bounce around and find some other stuff that's interesting from the timeline. But right now it is DeAndre Hopkins being released, where he may or may not go, and is the Celtics staying alive one more time. All right. Musical production done by May 1st Music. Support him at soundcloud.com/May 1st Music. Let's go ahead and get into topic one. All right, so y'all see it there. Y'all know why y'all clicked on it. DeAndre Hopkins is out in Arizona. He is outright released. And we'll get into the financials of it in regards to how much of the hard cap that's going to eat up and whatever. But the main thing we want to jump into is where the hell is he going? So right now we have the Bills, Patriots, and Ravens. Let's go, Lamar. Keep putting the gun to their head, Lamar. And not no John Morant gun, like a real... All right, hold on. But anyway, so the Bills, Patriots, and Ravens had been among the teams reportedly interested in pursuing Hopkins around draft time last month. So now, with DeAndre Hopkins being released, will any of those three teams spin the block and see if they could get Nuck in the building? Because DeAndre Hopkins is still a top-tier, top-flight receiver in this league. Now, where you have him, he's certainly top 10. I think that's an easy thing to say, right? He's top 10. Now, where he is in that top 10 is very subjective. But to be able to go out on the street and go get a guy like Nuck, who is his own agent, by the way, so you can negotiate there. There might be some wiggle room there. He might be willing to accept a contract that is not the standard per se, but you have DeAndre Hopkins available. Where is he going to go? What is he looking for? Well, he was asked for it. He was on the Brandon Marshall podcast, and he said this is what DeAndre Hopkins is looking for on his next team. A QB that loves the game and brings everyone on board with him. Is that a shot at Kyler Murray, who's too busy, who's always too busy playing COD, right? Is that a shot at Kyler Murray? Great defense. Quote, defense wins championships. Got to have a great D-line. Now, I don't know what DeAndre Hopkins knows about championships because he ain't win none yet. But he's saying, got to have a great defense. Defense wins championships. Got to have a great D-line. Those are two different things, by the way. Yes, a defense could win a championship, but you don't always have to have a great D-line. It's certainly helpful to have a great D-line. You can have a great D-line and still have a subpar defense. But anyway, we'll let him get these quotes off. Stable management. Now, we know what happened with the Arizona front office where, they hired Cliff Kingsbury with no real reason outside of the fact of Patrick Mahomes in college, affiliations with Kyler Murray, so on and so forth. And then you have to get into the fact that Steve Keim, who was a mainstay in that organization, but has gotten away with a lot of fugazi things that if that were any other type of GM, probably wouldn't have survived as long. And then you have the owner in Bidwell, who's too busy flying planes instead of keeping a tight rein on his toy, which is the Arizona Cardinals franchise. So these are three things where you have to look at the Arizona Cardinals and be like, these are all shades. This right here is a shade towards Kyler Murray. This is a shade towards that defense, which was never that great while he was in Arizona. And the stable management where the GM and the coach have all been escorted out the building, as well as other assistants during his tenure as an Arizona Cardinal. So a lot of turnover in the coaching ranks, executive ranks, and a QB that loves Call of Duty more than playing football, allegedly. So there's a lot there to take into account, and there's more. And again, this is all from, the Brandon Marshall podcast. I'm not necessarily a fan, but he does get athletes to speak because he is an athlete and he has a big platform. So DeAndre Hopkins recently said which QBs he'd like to play with. Now that he's a free agent, he potentially can pick from this set of five. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. So I'm going to sit here and say this. If you're DeAndre Hopkins and these are the five that you recently said you want to play with, which one of these five makes the most sense? But the Eagles, where's he going to play? Do you just automatically move Devonta Smith to the slot? And you have Nook and A.J. Brown? With the Bills, you have Stephon Diggs and Nook? Do you dare go with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? It's not the same, dynamic vision in terms of having Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, but Nook and Kelsey is a problem as well. Is it the Ravens and Lamar Jackson where, now that Lamar has allegedly all this help, is there still room for DeAndre Hopkins? Remember, Lamar said off rip, he wanted the team to target DeAndre Hopkins and Odell Beckham Jr. He got Odell. The team told him, we cannot get both of them. Now, in regards to getting both of them, it was a sense of we cannot sign Odell Beckham and give up the trade collateral to go get DeAndre Hopkins. Well, now DeAndre Hopkins is not a trade target no more. He is a free agent. Is there enough cap room with the Ravens to be able to go out there and get a DeAndre Hopkins? Now, what does that do for the receivers now? Nook, you would assume, now becomes the number one. Then it'll be between OBJ and Bateman for number two. With OBJ coming off injury, do you dare put OBJ in the slot and keep Bateman as your number two? And good Lord, the lanes that would open up for Mark Andrews. And even JK, if he can catch out the backfield, and even if Monken's going to continue to go on this 2 tight end set that he's known for, your man's likely might be able to eat. And then you got the Chargers and Justin Herbert, and with, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams always being hurt to some degree, Nook is a really good, I won't say insurance policy because that's an insult to DeAndre Hopkins, but that's a guy that you can really have a 3 wide receiver set. You could run trips. And who are you bracketing? You're going to have to play off one of those if you run trips. And he's still got Josh Palmer as well. Like the Chargers, these are clearly 5 teams that it can make work. There's no bad choice here. It's all about ranking in terms of which one do you feel is better than the other. I think the ones that are legitimate to me in terms of availability, you got to go with the Bills and Josh Allen, the Chiefs and Mahomes. And then it's really just about how do you figure out bringing in a receiver that's as good as DeAndre Hopkins to teams that already have two good wide receivers. The Eagles already have two good wide receivers. A.J. Brown is another guy that's top 10. Devonta Smith, move him to the slot. Lamar Jackson, now with OBJ, Bateman, and Zay Flowers, is there still room for DeAndre Hopkins? And Justin Herbert with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And then didn't they draft a receiver as well in the draft? Didn't they get my man's Johnston? If they got my man's Johnston, then it's like, well, where does DeAndre Hopkins fit? So it's going to be really interesting to see where he ends up because there's a lot of scenarios. Is there a team that we're sleeping on? The Patriots are not on this list. Patriots were one of the ones that were sniffing around draft time in terms of seeing if they could get him in the trade. But if DeAndre Hopkins now has his pick and these are the QBs he's rocking with, we notice Mac Jones is not on this list. I'll hit the chat early. Thank y'all for the likes. I would appreciate it if those who are pulling up and are enjoying the look of this content to hit that like button as well. Boogie Down is in the house. What's good, Boogie Down? Yes, you are here early. Got to say, but it's rare that Boogie Down pulls up at 4 Eastern. I know you're on the left coast. Got some tea today with Chop. Okay, let's go. We outside. My tea is goji berry and ginger. So we always make sure we have some tea to go along with the timeline tea. Alex tapping in. Also tells me how much the Cardinals front office is down is toxic. But they would shade all these people, especially to shade a QB you paid all that money to. Yeah, they're doing a great job of hiding Kyler Murray. You know, just the fact that DeAndre Hopkins had all this to say. He wants a QB that loves the game. Now, it's not like this is something new. We've heard this from. Didn't one of Kyler Murray's offensive linemen call him out and say he needs to grow up? That dude's still on the team, by the way. Like, that dude's still on the team. Like, he's able to air out the franchise QB, and he's still got a job. So that tells you the front office kind of sort of agrees with him, okay? It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, he's not saying nothing we haven't already known. I mean, that's why they put the homework clause in that contract, right? That's why they had to put, studying your playbook in the contract before that got blown out of proportion. Okay, Alex, does Baltimore really not have the money, or are they just saying they don't? Well, I know at one point, right after when they told Lamar they can't do it, it was more about the draft collateral and the trade pieces necessary to go get DeAndre Hopkins from Arizona. Arizona was asking for, I believe, if not a first, multiple seconds. And the Ravens just didn't have that. And they weren't trying to mortgage future picks to do that. So that's why that didn't really work out for them. But now you don't got to give up nothing. It's just, can you fit him under the cap? AB's tapping in was good. I can see D-Hop at Baltimore or the Texans. I don't think he goes back to Houston. If he does go back to Houston, that'll be a cute story. Obviously, Bryce Young would need someone to throw to. But I don't really see why a guy like, if we're really to believe this, right? QB that loves the game. We're going to assume Bryce Young loves the game, right? Great defense. Houston Texans do not have a great defense. They have a great coach who can orchestrate a great defense in D'Amico Ryan. And now stable management. I mean, it's a new regime. So I don't know how stable that is. So if D-Hop is really going to hold himself to his own criteria, the Houston Texans don't fit here. But let's see if these other teams do, though. Bills. QB that loves the game, sure. With Josh Allen, great defense. I don't know if I would say the Bills defense is a great defense. Stable management, I mean, I guess, right? So let's say the Bills have 2 out of the 3, right? Eagles, QB that loves the game. Yes, Jalen Hurts loves the game. Great defense. Well, they got the great D-line. I don't know if the defense for Philly, I wouldn't call that a great defense. They're a good defense, but they have a great D-line. So that checks that box. Stable management, yes. Sirianni's not going nowhere, and that front office has been cooking for a very long time, even after Joe Douglas left. So I think the Eagles check all 3 boxes. Now where are we at? Chiefs. QB that loves the game, check. Great defense. The Chiefs do not have a great defense, but they do have a great D-line because they got Chris Jones. So that could be a wiggle room there where you could say maybe not a great defense, but they do have a great D-line. Stable management. Yep, Andy Reid ain't going nowhere. You would assume. And, now with Eric Bieniemy out of there, they still are able to fill in the gaps and still have that great defense because Andy Reid's doing the play calling. So the Chiefs have 3 of the 3. Ravens and Lamar. QB that loves the game. Yes, Lamar loves the game. Great defense. I don't think Baltimore has a great defense. And I don't think Baltimore has a great D-line. They lost Calais Campbell. I think their back 7 is better than their front 4. So I wouldn't say Baltimore has a great defense. Stable management. Yeah, the DaCosta and Harbaugh aren't going anywhere. So I think stable management. So the Ravens have 2 out of the 3. And then the Chargers. QB that loves the game. We'll assume Jay Herbo loves the game. Great defense. The Chargers do not have a great defense. Great D-line. I mean, they got a Bosa. Does that mean they got a great D-line? I guess if the Chiefs have a great D-line because they got Chris Jones, I guess we got to say the Chargers have one because they have a Bosa. Stable management. Staley. I don't know about that one. I don't know. So, they might have 2 out of 3. So right now, the only team that has 3 out of 3 is the Eagles. If DeAndre Hopkins is going to hold to his own criteria of the next team he's looking for, the criteria for the next team he's looking for, the only team that fits that of the 5 QBs he liked to play with is the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. Is that a cheat code if DeAndre Hopkins goes to the Eagles? And what the hell do you do with Devonta Smith? He's now in the slot. Are you now going to put Devonta Smith in the slot if you have DeAndre Hopkins and A.J. Brown? Now, again, neither one of them are going to go vertical per se. They can get deep pause, but it's more of they're not running go routes. They're not running 9 routes, right? It's more sluggos, post corners, things like that where they stretch the field vertically. Devonta Smith is that guy that can do a 9 route, can do a go route, and make it happen. So, I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but ultimately, based off of his own criteria, you got to go with the Eagles here and think the Eagles might be the best. The Chiefs, you can make an argument for, although I don't think the Chiefs have a great defense, but they do have a great D-line because they still got Chris Jones. But again, I'm asking y'all in the chat. This is an interactive experience. Y'all let me know as I'm heading to the chat. Let's see where we at. Boogie down. What if D-Hop went to reunite with Watson? Went to Cleveland. Okay. D-Hop and Cooper. Then you got Chubb at running back with the O-line. Browns would definitely be a problem. I agree. Now let's put the Browns in this scenario, right? Do they have a QB that loves the game? We're gonna assume Deshaun Watson loves the game because him and D-Hop play together. Do the Browns have a great defense? No, but they have a great D-line because they got Myles Garrett. Stable management. That's where you lose me. So I'll say they have 2 out of the 3. They have 2 in the possible. If we're playing spades, right? The Browns have two in the possible because the stable management, I'm not sure about. I don't know enough about the Browns to jump out that window and say, well, obviously they gave Deshaun Watson that contract. And they've been able to restructure that contract and still be able to fit guys in under the cap. So I'll give that, I'll go ahead and say they got all three. So I think the Browns are a good call there, Boogie Down. I can see that. Reuniting with Deshaun Watson, so he knows what he's getting from a QB standpoint. Great defense, not necessarily, but you have a great D-line because you have Myles Garrett. Alex, Eagles will be unstoppable. Yeah, it's a cheat code. It would be a cheat code. You thought they were unstoppable last year with, the running game and Jalen Hurts being dynamic, both running and throwing. You give him another weapon and another top-tier weapon. Like, that's the thing. It would be like Devonta Smith was a good he was a good draft pick. And they got Dallas Goedert, by the way. So it's like they got a good tight end that can catch the ball. And they got Devonta Smith. Then they go bring in A.J. Brown. Cheat code. We saw what that did. Now if they go out and go get another cheat code in DeAndre Hopkins, like, come on, bruh. Alex is saying too unstable in Cleveland. Okay. And so the management you're saying. So the management we're saying is unstable. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Because I didn't want to speak on it too tough. I'm like, I don't have the knowledge. I'll be up front. Cleveland is where QBs go to die. But I will say this, though, Alex. Watson ain't going there to die. And that, as Boogie Down put out, and, it's clear as day. Like, they got a roster already. Amari Cooper is a top 10 receiver, especially in terms of route running. We know what Chubb can do when he's healthy. Njoku is an enigma, but if you keep putting other weapons on the field, that should make Njoku's job a lot easier, especially to realize his full potential. Like, the Browns could be a real sleeper there. And again, remember, he's his own agent. So he doesn't have to get caught up in all these agent games of, well, I have a relationship with this team, da-da-da. He's walking in there like, yo, bro, what's the bread looking like? And I'll decide if I'm going to take it for the low or if I want my market value. Boogie Down, I feel like Hop would play in the slot before Smith. That's high praise for Smith. That's high praise. You bringing in D-Hop to come out the slot? I'd rather have Smith in the slot. Boogie Down, if he went to the Browns, there's a real possibility Bengals could finish third in that division. That's fair. The Browns could take a huge leap forward just off the strength of having Watson for a full year. So the chemistry with him and Cooper should be dope. You got Nick Chubb, who's still upper echelon at his position. The O-line has gotten better. Like, the Browns are ready. Now, the thing is, the defense, is it just Myles Garrett, Ward, and a bunch of dudes? Or have they been able to really add some pieces to help Myles Garrett and Ward? AB, Cleveland would be nice. Alex, I think Watson, if anyone, is too injury prone. Well, I mean, we know he's coming off the 2 ACLs, right? So we get that. But before that, was he injury prone? Like, I know that's a lot to look just to look past, right? Like, it's a lot to look past, two ACLs. But I just feel like I wouldn't put that label on him yet. If he gets hurt this year, then yeah. If it's non-related, yeah. But it's gonna be interesting, man. I like it. I like this D-Hop stuff. Now, here's a team that no one has said yet in the chat and in these tweets trying to track it. Now, I know some of y'all are going to hate this just because of who this team is and what they represent. But allegedly, there's real smoke here. DeAndre Hopkins worked out in Dallas the entire offseason. I know what he said on the podcast, which is referencing the Brandon Marshall podcast. I also Know what he said incessantly to people locally here in March. Cowboys would definitely be an option at the right price. It's something they should explore. And then, by the way, Dalvin Cook too. Now, let's go to the wish list for DeAndre Hopkins. Do the Cowboys fit this equation? QB that loves the game. I'll go ahead and give that to Dak. Yes, Dak loves the game. Dallas, do they have a great defense? No, they do not. Great D-line? I mean, they got Micah Parsons, who is bulking up to play the position of edge rusher permanently. Is Micah Parsons in that Chris Jones Bosa level to where as long as you got him, you got a great D-line? Has Micah Parsons reached that level? Because if he has, then that means they have a great defense according to DeAndre Hopkins' definition. Stable management. Stable owner, because Jerry ain't going nowhere, but I wouldn't call Mike McCarthy stable. I mean, he lied to get the job, and now he has to call plays because he ran the other OC up out of there, Kellen Moore, because he used him as the scapegoat. This, quite honestly, could be Mike McCarthy's last year. Because after you're the head coach, you're supposed to be the offensive guy, and you're calling the plays. If the team spits the bit again this year, you got no one else to blame, bruh. So stable management, no. Stable ownership, but not stable management. So the Cowboys don't really fit this, in my opinion. They have the QB. Depending on how you feel about Micah Parsons and his ability as an edge rusher, you might let them slide. So they might have one and two possibles. Oh, wait, no. This is not a possible. Sorry, they have one and a possible. So the Cowboys have one and a possible out of the three books that D-Hop is trying to make. So no, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. But it's the Cowboys, and, you know, there's always tea out there about the Cowboys. So I'll come off the screen here. Let's see if we can tap into the chat. Boogie down, what does injury prone even mean? I mean, certainly having back-to-back ACL tears is injury prone. Like, especially if it's like, if he has injuries this year that are related to it, then you're looking at a Kawhi Leonard type thing, where it's like, oh, okay, dog, like your leg is just messed up. Your legs, your knees are just never going to get better. But now if he just has regular shoulder injuries, arm injuries, whatever, hip injuries, like that's just normal football stuff. But if he gets more injuries in that same part of his extremities, then that to me is injury prone. Not just him getting hurt. Quarterbacks get hurt. We had the stat, you know, when all the Lamar Jackson stuff about, you know, a lot of these running QBs, which Deshaun Watson was put in that category, they all still played 80% plus of their games. Alex, those ACLs are not helpful because he can't move the same way. Yeah, but I don't really remember Deshaun being that. Like, yes, he ran the ball. Yes. But it's not like Lamar. It's more like Mahomes, opportunistic in that Russell Wilson type way, like opportunistic running. Not that much of a hardcore design run, unless I am misremembering the peak of Deshaun Watson in Houston, which I'll give it up if I am, but I don't remember it being that much of a heavy design run scheme. I mean, it was Bill O'Brien, like. How would he fit in Dallas? Cooks, Lamb, and Gallup. Well, let's see. Let's see. You would put him opposite CD. Like that's the thing. That's why I don't think you put him in the slot in Philly. Like, I don't think you're bringing in DeAndre Hopkins to be a number 3 receiver. You can't. There's not too many teams that have 2 better receivers on their roster. Even if he were to go to like the Bucks, he's better than Chris Godwin. Like, there's not too many teams that have two better receivers than DeAndre Hopkins on their roster right now to where he has to be the number 3. Like, I don't think Devonta Smith has shown us that much that Nook has to come out the slot. So, yeah, I think if you're doing them in Dallas, pause. Yeah, you're going to do Lamb. I mean, Nook might be a... No, you still let Lamb be a number 1 off GP. Then you put Nook at the 2. And then Gallup in the slot. And Gallup low-key might flourish there. I don't think Corey's in here. He's our resident Cowboy guy. But I think that would be a good mix. Alex Mike McCarthy's a fraud. You know it, and a liar. Let's be clear. He is a liar. He is a known liar. He is an admitted. He told on himself. He snitched on himself and told the world how he lied in the job interview to get the Cowboy job. So all the stuff people tell you about, be open, be honest, be transparent. No. Mike McCarthy lied in his interview, and Jerry Jones ate that shit up and hired him. And Mike McCarthy admitted lying about it after the fact, and Jerry Jones ain't do shit about it. Boogie down. I don't think Dak is that good. Dak, to me, is a mobile Kirk Cousins, puts up stats, no playoff success, and folds in big moments. Well, here's the thing, Boogie down. Like, he fits the criteria of this, though, right? Like, here's the thing. Like, if D-Hop is saying you got to make 3 books. Book 1 has to be QB that loves the game. Book 2 is great defense. And book 3 is stable management. The Cowboys only got one in a possible. The Cowboys only got one in a possible. So don't worry about it. I think you're good here. I don't see him going to Dallas because they can't make the books. Alex, Dak is not that good. Wow, shaking my head. Coach tripping. Oh yeah, no, Mike McCarthy. He admitted that. Like that's the wild shit to me. Like I've never seen someone admit they lied. Like to that employer, and the employer said, "Okay, cool. Well, we still gonna cut the check." Crazy to me. Alex Mike McCarthy, the point fraud of the NFL. He's up there. He might be. Certainly of coaches. Unless you want to give it to John Gruden, who is now slowly creeping his way back into the league, by the way. John Gruden's out here sneaking his way back into the league. Isn't he still suing the league? I don't know how you can have all the racist, sexist, misogynist stuff that was leaked about him, that was proven to be, accurate information. And he somehow, he went away for a year, right? A year or maybe 2. And now he's slowly creeping his way back in there. Crazy. But, end racism in the end zone. We're going to wear pink in October for, breast cancer awareness. Salute for the thumbs down. I appreciate you. So here's how we're moving. So for the financials of it, by releasing DeAndre Hopkins, the Cardinals will take a $22.6 million cap hit this season. And it just begs to show, why would you do all of this when you could have traded him on draft night? Now, you might not have liked the return you would have gotten, but wouldn't you have preferred getting something for DeAndre Hopkins instead of just eating all this dead cap money? You could have gotten a 4th, a 3rd, I guess a 5th. Like, you could have gotten anything. But instead, they just cut him and just take the huge cap hit. And if we really want to get into the money with the Cardinals and DeAndre Hopkins, the Cardinals paid DeAndre Hopkins a total of $54.9 million the last 3 years. The 3rd most cash for any wide receiver. They will now eat over $21 million. That's what we just found out, 22 and a half really. But over $21 million in dead cap for him not to play for them in 2023. Again, they could have traded him and gotten something for him. Now, that would have stretched the dead cap money out a little bit. But to take such a huge cap hit in 1 year and get nada, I would love to know the rationale. Would love to know the rationale. Alex Gruden had a ready-made team in Tampa. That's the only way he has a Super Bowl. That's big facts. He took Tony Dungy's team and won a Super Bowl. He was able to do the one thing Tony Dungy couldn't do, which is to have a competent offense. And he was lucky enough to play the team that he coached, that he built up in the Raiders in the Super Bowl. He knew all the plays. He knew all the players. You couldn't have an easier Super Bowl win on someone's resume. AB, Dak, it's nice. You have to put him in a good situations. Remember, Coach Mike. So you're talking Mike McCarthy and Moore wasn't that good. I mean, Kellen Moore was okay. The problem to me was not Kellen Moore. The problem is they have Mike McCarthy. But even before that, Dak's been kind of up and down. Like, yeah, Dak is well, we were debating if he was even top 10 the other day. But, I mean, Dak is he's better than half the quarterbacks in the league, right? Which is 32, so that's 16. Dak is definitely top 16. But he does have his misgivings. He does have things that work against him. There are things that hold that team back that he is responsible for. Boogie down. That black helmet's clean as fuck. Cardinals should make that the regular helmets. Let's see where we at. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Dak ain't nice. If Lamar was on the Cowboys, he would have won the Super Bowl by now. AB, yes, he is. Fan HC and the OC was trash. I mean, I'm not going to say Kellen Moore was trash. I'm not going to say that. Mike McCarthy is trash. I'll give you that. But I'm not going to say Kellen Moore was trash. Alex, Dak, and Kirk Cousins have equal numbers. Well, let's go ahead and play that game. I see today, some days it's just like, all right, we're going to have to do an examination of, like yesterday it was Tom Brady. We were, exploring the numbers of Tom Brady. I guess today it's going to be, let's go down the Dak Prescott numbers. Okay. Let me see. Can we do the comparison? Where's the compare tool? Here we go. Compare. Oh, it's not moved in enough for y'all. Boom. Okay. Compare Dak Prescott to Kirk Cousins. Compare. All right, let's see. Now, Cousins has played 4 more years, so we have to take that into account. Completion percentage is roughly the same. Dak has definitely thrown more picks, even though he's played way less games. Like, he's played like 50 less games damn near. Yeah, so Dak has played 50 less games, yet he has 9 more picks. No, excuse me. My bad. I look at the wrong number. That was the long in terms of passing yards. That's interceptions. Okay, so, no, that's a pretty good ratio. That's a good ratio for Dak. Both of them have good TD to interception ratios. Yeah, the numbers, low key, even the rushing numbers aren't that vastly different. Yeah, wow. Black Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott. Let's go ahead and call it. Now, their average per games, roughly the same. Even down to how many times they're sacked. Yeah, Black Kirk Cousins. Let's do the playoffs. Let's do the playoffs. Yeah, even the playoff numbers, even though, Dak's got more passing yards per game. Based off this, I got to say Dak's been better in the playoffs. But yeah, regular season, I think Alex and I think Boogie Down hit it on the head. Dirk is Black Kirk Cousins. Dak is Black Kirk Cousins. I would have never, thought about that until today. So salute to y'all for putting that out there. Because I would have not thought about that. But it makes sense now. All right, let's go to the homie, Mina Kimes. Teams that should aggressively pursue D-Hop. So this is her own list. Detroit, that's an interesting one. New England, Carolina, Dallas, Atlanta, Indy. That is interesting if you're looking at it. Detroit, does Detroit need another wide receiver? I mean, imagine Monroe St. Brown as your number 2 because you got Nook. Jameson in the slot? Or do you put St. Brown in the slot and let Jameson be the 2 and Nook be the 1? Patriots, I mean, they have nothing. So yes, they should aggressively pursue D-Hop. Carolina's interesting. You do the Bryce Young thing there. And they have Adam Thielen. And who's the other receiver they got? Who's the other receiver the Panthers got? It's Thielen and is it DJ Chark? Where's my window? I think it's DJ Chark. Yeah, DJ Chark's with the Panthers now. So you have Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, and then you could potentially bring in D-Hop. Dallas, we talked about. Atlanta. Okay, so let's run down off the list. Detroit, do they have the 3 books? A QB that loves the game. I'm going to assume Jared Goff loves the game. Great defense. They have an okay defense, but they do have a great O-line, and they improved upon it in the draft. Stable management. I mean, Dan Campbell's not going nowhere. So I would assume, I mean, the Lions might have all 3 books here. The Lions might have all 3 books. So in addition to the Eagles and the Chiefs, the Lions might have all 3 books. New England, I'm not even going to dignify that. I don't even know if they got 1 book. I guess it's stable management because Belichick ain't going nowhere. Carolina. QB that loves the game. Bryce Young. Sure. Great defense. I mean, they didn't trade Burns, right? They still got Burns, so the D-line you could consider to be great. Okay, I'll give them that book. They made the Jack walk. Stable management. I mean, with Teppers as the owner, new regime, so stable for now. Okay, so the Panthers might make all 3 books as well. Dallas, we already did. Atlanta. QB that loves the game. I don't know that much about Desmond Ridder except for what he used to like on the Elon app that got him in trouble that he had to then unlike. He likes MAGA. Outside of that, I'm not sure if he loves the game of football. Great defense. It's an improved defense. Got to have a great D-line. I mean, Grady Jarrett and Calais Campbell on the D-line. Does that mean you have a great D-line? Stable management. The Falcons don't really fit this criteria. Indianapolis. QB that loves the game. AR. Anthony Richardson. Yes. Great defense. I don't know about that. Great D-line. I don't know about that. Stable management. I mean, they just went through a regime change. So, no, the Colts don't fit either. So, right now, it's just Detroit. Yeah, Detroit and Carolina out this list. And then she adds in Buffalo, KC, the Giants. The Giants, though, I think the cap might be tricky. Yeah, the Giants cap situation is really rough. So, yeah, I don't know about that one either. But out of these six, I think Carolina and Detroit fit the three book criteria that D-Hop is talking about. All right, one last piece of it. Switching over to the Ravens, who might be in the mix for DeAndre Hopkins, but it's more so in regards to how the new offense is going to fit. And I will move myself out of that corner. Give me a sec. And I could do that thanks to the power of Ecamm Live. If you want to try a sample, a free trial of Ecamm Live, link is in the description. So the last 4 years under Greg Roman, the Ravens offense ranked number 1 most run heavy and the number 3 slowest pace just in the first half of games. But now that they got Ted Monken involved, turning the reins over to Todd Monken, it'll be interesting to see how far they swing in opposite direction, i.e. faster and more pass heavy. And you see it here in the first half of games since 2019. So this includes the Lamar MVP year. They are dead last in slowest pace. Okay? So they run the most and pass the least in the entire league since 2019. And even with that, Lamar was able to win an MVP. With the most run-heavy offense and with the 3rd slowest pace in the whole league. Now, again, just in the first half, but this is how they were starting games with Greg Roman. And Monken is looking to do the complete opposite of that, and he's got way more weapons to play with. So we'll see how that goes for your man's Todd Monken, who's coming straight from Georgia and trying to make it happen. We shall see. Alex, this is in regards to Dak and Black Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott. I was just trying to make a point out a legit comparison. No, it was on the money. It was on point. Boogie down, man. They're such nearly identical. Yep. He should go to Indy. Actually, I didn't even think about them. Indy, yeah. I mean, Indy's a good look. But the thing about Indy is that defense. If he's holding firm to this, somebody got to have a great D line. Indy does not have a great D line. But we'll see. AB, Atlanta doesn't have a good QB. No, they don't. But he's surrounded by a lot of weapons. So just like Detroit, I don't think Jared Goff is good. But he's got a lot of weapons around him that you can kind of, look past some of that. Jared Goff can be accurate. He can hit the deep ball. So if you have Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, dogs, and they got a tight end in the draft. If you can't make that work, and they got a whole bunch of running backs now, Montgomery and whatnot, if you can't make that work, bruh. And they drafted Gibbs, right? They got Gibbs, come on, man. There you go. Alex sharing the brain. Jared Goff can at least get the ball downfield. Yeah, I mean, you don't need him to be great. With those weapons, that's the thing about getting those weapons. You're just making the QB's job easier, so then the threshold of how good your quarterback has to be is diminished, which is a good thing. It's not easy. You can't find another Patrick Mahomes. Only Patrick Mahomes can win with the type of roster he has right now, where he has a bunch of wide receivers that would be, second and third and fourth receivers on other teams. He's making it work with them being their number 1 and number 2. But if you have Jared Goff, you can't get away with that. You're going to get exposed. So what do? You go get him legit number 1 receiver and a DeAndre Hopkins potentially. You go draft another potential number 1 wide receiver in Jameson Williams, and you pair him with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has flashed the last 2 seasons and shown potential to be a number 1 wide receiver. So now it's yo, dogs, Every time we run trips, one of those dudes is open. It's hard for me to believe that every time they run trips, if DeAndre Hopkins goes there, St. Brown is locked, DeAndre Hopkins is locked, and Jameson Williams is locked. There's not going to be too many plays where that's going to happen. Boogie Down, that graph alone explains why Lamar's passing yards have been low. Let me move myself back up here. That graph alone explains why Lamar's passing yards have been low. Has nothing to do with ability and everything to do with scheme. How do NFLs and media not understand this? Well, because Lamar doesn't look the part. Lamar doesn't look the part. And until he looks the part, that's how that's going to go. AB, Indy has good linebackers. I mean, sure. But they got Leonard, Darius Leonard. Is he even back yet? Oh, wait, he changed his name, right? Leonard changed his name. But you know, according to D-Hop, he ain't looking at linebackers. Got to have a great D-line. And Indy does not have that. So, hope y'all enjoyed that. Gave y'all plenty of NFL on a Friday. 50 minutes worth. But now, we got to get to Heat culture is in trouble. Heat culture is in trouble. Are they going to blow it? Are they going to blow it? Heat culture takes a big L last night, and there's not much to get into outside of right now. The pace has slowed down. Did the Heat miss Gabe Vincent? Sure. But you know who they missed last night too? Jimmy Butler. Oh, but Sam, Jimmy Butler played 33 minutes. Yeah, I know, but they still miss Jimmy Butler. They still miss Jimmy Butler because the guy that I saw out there last night, that didn't look like Jimmy Butler. I mean, he shot like Jimmy Butler, especially from three. And we talked about it, you know, we broke it down yesterday in regards to every other game the Heat go off from three-point land. Every other game, the Heat go crazy. It was like 59%. Then they drop down to 30-something, like 35. Then game 3, they hit like 51%. And then game 4, they dropped down even worse, down to like 25%. So then last night, if the trend would have continued, like, okay, well, they're going to go crazy from 3 in game 5. And they shot 39%. But it wasn't the 50% like in games 1 and 3. So again, the shooting woes of the Heat continue from three-point land. Is this going to be a trend that keeps allowing the Boston Celtics? Because the Celtics didn't play that good last night. I didn't feel like the Celtics played that well last night. It was just the Heat just got outplayed. They got outplayed. Like, there's no other way around it. Like, the talent that the Celtics had overcame the scheme and the culture of the Miami Heat for the second game in a row. I mean, they're trying to go Cody Zeller out here, dog. I mean, Hayward Highsmith might have to start in place of Kyle Lowry if Gabe Vincent can't give it a go. Like, they may have to go big with Highsmith. Problematic, man. And for the Celtics, you got, I mean, look at this. This right here tells you the story of the game. This right here tells you the story of the game, where they have 4 dudes in the starting lineup and all 4 got 20 plus. Derek White's your leading scorer. In a game where you felt like this was an elimination game, where clearly it was by definition, Tatum was not even your leading scorer. Tatum and Brown were not your leading scorers. It was Derek White and Marcus Smart. And 11 dimes for Jason Tatum to go along with 8 boards. So 21, 11, and 8 with a couple steals for Jason Tatum. Now, the 3 ball still wasn't falling, but Derek White's 3 ball was. 6 threes. Even Jaylen Brown, who has been shooting horrible this entire series, he was able to get his shot off last night. Maybe it was home cooking. I don't know. But 9 of 18 from the floor, including 3 of 5 from 3. And then Marcus Smart, I mean, to me, he'll never be a point guard, but he's doing enough offensively and defensively to make things happen. 5 steals. 5 steals. Okay? So we'll run through some stats real quick. The Celtics guards last night, as we just broke that down, Derek White, 24 points on 73% field goal shooting, including the 6 threes. Marcus Smart, 23 points with the 5 steals, 4 of 6 from 3. Huge game for them. Let's keep it going. The Celtics now have better odds than the Miami Heat to win the championship. It is happening. The Nuggets are a minus 175, 179. The Celtics are plus 285. And the Heat now that are still up in this series, plus 550 to win the whole damn thing. That has more to do with Denver. But these odds are saying that the bookies think the Celtics are going to come back and pull this off. So we'll see how that goes. And we speaking about Jimmy Butler. Remember when he went out here and was talking crazy and he mocked Al Horford, Big Al, down there in South Beach? Since he did this, 2 losses. He's been a minus 44 in the plus minus, 17% from 3, and 20% from the floor in the 4th quarter alone. Karma? Did he do it too prematurely? Ever since this timeout, mocking Al Horford from game 1, 20% from the field in the 4th quarter, 17% from 3, minus 44 in plus minus, and 2 L's to go along with that. And the Celtics just have a different energy about them, so much so that they're running up on your man's Grant Williams, and I'll play the sound. It's a little sus, but I'm going to let y'all rock with it, and y'all tell me what the hell is going on here with Grant Williams and what's happening behind him, more importantly.
Look too far ahead, ouch, and make sure that we got good job, Grant. And look too far ahead, ouch, and make sure that we got good job, Grant. And look too far ahead, ouch, and make sure that we got good job, Grant. And look.
Yeah, that's the Boston Celtics. That's how they're feeling. I don't know what's happening, but they're feeling a lot looser now, and they're starting to get back into that groove, and they're starting to feel themselves a little bit. The Boston Celtics, can they or will they pull this off? Game 6 tomorrow night out there in South Beach. Can they do the unthinkable? Can they be down 0-3 and make it go to 7? Because these last 2 games have really just been about the shots have not been falling. Because I'm telling you, I rewatched it. I didn't rewatch the whole thing. I watched like a condensed package. Pause. I didn't have time to rewatch the entire game from beginning to end. But I don't think this was like Tatum played okay. Brown played well, and just the shots he was taking. I guess we go to the shot chart. Let's go to the shot chart. That normally tells me. Let's go down to the shot chart. Let's go with Jaylen Brown. Okay. So, and here's where this is what you like to see. Even though these are misses, this is where you want Jaylen Brown to be, right? Now, I'm still not a fan. These fell, right? So I'm not mad at these. But I love the fact that he was aggressive in getting the middies going. On the elbow, on the baseline, he's getting the middies going. So I'm not mad at that. And he was finishing at the rim. He wasn't blowing bunnies at the rim, but he was in the paint doing work. So I'm not mad at that. Now,